Kenny Stubblefield, bring your ass on the screen. I'm gonna let you be the voice of. I'm gonna let you represent.
Well, he represents. Is it the haters? He represents the.
No, he represents the Luke Kennard culture. I'm just.
Okay.
I've had so many conversations, DeMichael. It's been, how could a team that's, one of the worst shooters not value a guy that shoots at a historical level, and you got to have shooting, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
It just seems odd to me that Luke Kennard has been a free agent for 2 weeks, and we ain't heard nobody want him but the Grizzlies. Like, I mean, it just seems like a guy that's such a good shooter. Like, I've been arguing with these guys for months about how much value, Luke Kennard, one of the better shooters, and he ain't the only one who's still sitting out there in free agency, bro.
Nope.
He ain't the only one. Like, the NBA has changed, bro. You got to be able to do some other shit. Now, am I saying that a guy like him don't have a place in the league? Cool. I'm not saying that at all. But on a team that has John Morant, Marcus Smart, Desmond Bain, Vince Williams, Jalen Wells.
Yeah.
How do I find time, real time, like 20, 25 minutes a game for Luke Kennard? They're just not there. I've had to. We'll talk about another person that y'all just giving minutes to that don't exist. We're gonna talk about that in a minute. But Kenny Stubblefield, can you explain to me why nobody is signing Luke Kennard? How is he still a free agent? Kenny Stubblefield, is this making sense to you?
I honestly think that I think Kleiman already got a deal signed. They just haven't. They haven't.
I do too.
I think a deal is done. They just haven't made it official yet.
I think 2 deals are done. You want to hear my theory?
Yeah.
I think the Grizzlies said, "Look, Luke, we're trying to get Zaire Williams off our book. If we're able to find a deal that can clear him off, and we can, or whatever money we have to eat or whatever, we can get that money within this range. We're gonna give you this. But if not, we can give you this because it'll be 2 different numbers." DeMichael, that sounds kind of true, don't it, bro? That sounds real. That sounds plausible. Be careful, bro, because you say the wrong thing. It'll show up.
I'll say this. I don't think that method of thinking is far off because I do think that the Luke Kennard situation is connected.
It's dependent to where they are with the tax.
Yeah. Because if it was all about just a discount, they could give him $12 million a year. He'd go down from 14 from 8 to 12. But think about it, 12 still puts you in the first apron. So how do you get below the first apron and still give him?
Aren't they already in the first apron?
No, not right now. No,
they're not. Oh, they're not. I thought they were trying to stay.
They're non-tax paying.
They're not even in the tax right now.
Oh, I thought they were trying to stay out of the second apron, so they're not even in the first apron.
They own some real.
This the last year. This the last year it'll be like this.
They own some.
$4.99998 million.
I mean pennies, man. They really they're that close. Like that team option was what 14.8. Like if you give him 10, 11 million a year, it puts you right under it. If you, and that's not even room to do anything else. That's why the Zaire Williams $6 million per year, John Contra $6 million per year. That's why those deals are,
they're gonna pay that man in Top Golf credits.
Doing something with one of those contracts potentially gives you a little cushion, under the first apron because you're probably going to need another move for whether it's backup big, which I think should be the move, kind of like an Xavier Tillman type big. Yeah. They don't have that guy on the roster right now that if something happens to Brandon Clark or Zach Edey or whatever the case may be, and that's where I think that comes into play. But the Luke Kennard situation, I keep telling people I don't think it's of any concern. Like it's and simply put, like with the value thing. You mentioned like it's not just him. Like Gary Trent is another 2 guard
out there.
But he's just a 2 guard. I mean, Buddy Hield. If nothing happened with the Golden State, got a little desperate because of the Klay Thompson situation. Like they had to do something because you just lost the franchise cornerstone.
Buddy Hield would have still been out there.
He's still been out there because at the end of the day, if you one positional 2 guards aren't as important anymore because Desmond Bain he can play both. He can play point. He can play on the ball, off the ball, as you mentioned earlier.
And he can dribble and get to the basket, hit mid-range. All he's have to do
Marcus Smart, even Vince Williams, he's 2 and he can play the 2 and the 3.
And high level
bit more. And high-level defender. But Luke Kennard, it's hard to close games with him right now because you ain't taking Desmond Bain off the floor. Yep. Like, so, if Des was hurt, okay, you could close the game with him. There's your 2 guard and you'd be fine. But you ain't closing games with him being the 3, and now he's got to guard Kawhi Leonard, in the last seconds of a game, or he's got to guard, KD, or he's got to guard, Anthony Edwards, or whatever the case may be. But like you ain't letting that happen.
Yeah.
So Anthony, do you think that honestly, like right now, the Grizzlies are out? They are trying to trade off some of these, like the Zaire, the John Conchar contracts, in order to get Luke the money he wants? Or are they actually looking for somebody else potentially, like a Gary Trent Jr.? Because
I think the Grizzlies are trying to turn a Zaire or somebody into a big that can play, another big that can play. And I also think they want to do that for slightly less than what Zaire makes. Now, if you think I'm talking out of turn, Michael, you tell me, because you got your ear to the ground more than me.
I think you pretty much on par.
Right. I think they're trying to save contract money. I think they're trying to stay below the MLE.
Every dollar matters right now.
Yeah, and then I think they're also trying to sign Luke to where they'll have a little wiggle room with that. If they want to.
How do you get a big that can actually play for a price that's cheaper than Zaire Williams? Like that.
I want to say that's what Day'Ron Sharpe is, if I'm not mistaken. I think Day'Ron makes less than Zaire.
Yeah, he's still on his rookie deal. Yeah. And he's back into the first round pick.
That's something that can turn a wasted spot into somebody that can actually be a rotation player, and then it saves your little cap room. You can give that difference to Luke to get him closer to whatever you're trying to.
Or even not even just give Luke the difference. You could potentially give yourself more wiggle room as the trade deadline gets here, because that's going to be another thing that plays out with the way that the tax works now. A lot of these teams are hard capped. So when you're seeing teams are hard capped
in the first apron,
they can't go over the first apron no matter what. Like if you reach that number and you have 13 guys on your roster, you cannot sign the 14th guy because you can't pass that number no matter. Like that's your guys. Like if guys get hurt and you're down to 9 players, that's who you got. Like you can't. You can maybe try to get a little 10-day and a little $60,000 work it in there somewhere, but you can't go over those numbers. So with all that being said, like you're going to see all these teams. Like it's important. Pay attention to it from the Grizzlies fans' standpoint. Look at all these teams that get hard capped in the first apron because you can just check them off. Like okay, when the trade deadline gets here, you see these disgruntled stars from these other teams. Memphis will be in a much better position because they won't be in the apron to make something happen. Whereas you're in the first apron, you can't even pick up the phone if you wanted to.
Right, and that's what I was saying, Kenny. It's like people are thinking, the Grizzlies just being cheap. They on some, like we said, Scrooge McDuck. No, there is a basketball advantage to staying out of the luxury tax.
Right,
because there's like certain teams. They're in the first apron, but they've also done other things. Damichael knows this way better than me, but they've done other things that automatically hard cap you, but they trigger you into being hard cap, even though you're in the first apron. So you can't, even within that apron, you can only do so much. Damichael knows way more about this stuff.
It's things like sign and trade. If you're in the luxury tax, you use that. You sign and trade for a guy. Like I remember when everybody was talking about Isaiah Hartenstein and that whole thing. If the Grizzlies would have done that, they'd been hard capped.
Yep, they've been hard capped within the first apron.
That would have hard capped them or whatever. So it's also like you can use that mid-level exception and it can trigger your hard cap. Like with the Grizzlies, like going into the luxury tax, using that mid-level exception, I think it's what
hard cap.
12. Yeah, it's going to trigger the hard cap. So it's easier than ever before to get hard cap. Like the only team that really comes to mind to me the last 3-4 years, off the top of my head, that I remember was hard cap was the Warriors when they did remember the D'Angelo Russell sign and trade because they got desperate around that time. That was when the KD move happened and they traded.
They gave us the first round pick to take
D'Angelo Russell.
No, they gave us the first round pick to take
Wiggins.
No,
what?
He was on the team and we traded him. Finals MVP, Iguodala.
Oh yeah. Exactly. So like they got hard capped that year. And it got tight for them at a point. Like their guys were their guys, and they didn't have room to do anything else. So I think you want to try to avoid the apron at least this season because Memphis will probably be in it, going forward.
But then, but the cap is going to expand a little bit too, though.
The cap's going to expand, but Jaren Jackson Jr. pocket is going to expand too. Yeah. So I don't know how much good that's going to do Memphis.
Yeah,
but
that boy going on tour next summer, y'all.
Oh yeah.
It's about the album this year. A worldwide tour,
and he going to be able to afford to pay for some of the seats if they ain't sold out.
Right.
So yeah, but I think that Luke Kennard situation it'll work out in good time.
Yeah, for sure.
So percentage wise, where are you at? Like on both of y'all, in terms of Luke being on the team or not next year? He'll be on the team next year, you think, or what?
Yeah. Without a doubt.
I agree. I'm saying 100%. I think it's because if another team wanted to get Luke, I think they, like I said, guys who just are spot up shooters and that's all they do.
Yeah.
Those guys really don't have a role in the league like they may have had a while ago. Because you got to remember, man, LeBron James got a lot of guys paid from being a 6'9" wing that was playing point guard and let the point guard just be a spot up shooter.
Yep.
He covered a multitude of sins doing it. And
yeah.
that formula just ain't working no more. Like Devin Booker trying to be this, all powerful guard, or Paul George trying to be this Mr. Drip. That stuff ain't working. James Harden just being this everything guard. That stuff ain't working.
Yeah, I'm with you. I won't say 100% because you never say never, but I'll say like the DNA test. I'll say 99.999.